Okay, so I'm filming this on Photo Booth, and I don't know how to edit videos, so you're just going to have to bear with me if you even care to watch this. It's really not going to be very interesting. It's more for my own sake and to sort of um, have some chronicle of whatever's going on right now with my health. I think it would be interesting to be able to look back in a year and see this and see how far I've come or how far I haven't come. And, we live in an age where there's just a ton of ways to document stuff. And I've kind of always wanted to do like a video diary, but I never have. And fuck, I just figured why the hell not. So anyway, so I have rheumatoid arthritis. I've had it for almost 5 years now. I was diagnosed at 25. I'm now 30, but I was almost 26, I think, when I was diagnosed. And it's been quite the ride. And I'm not even going to get into the backstory because there's a lot there. But also, you're probably going to see my animals in this video because they are out of control. So in the last maybe 3 months, maybe a little bit more, I think it's just been like a gradual thing. I've been feeling worse. I've been getting fevers every day in the afternoon. Well, not every day, but like almost every day. And they're low-grade fevers, like 99 to 100. Just like an increased fatigue and pain and just generally feeling crappy. I kind of feel like I'm always about to get the flu, is how to best describe it. You just like ache, and you don't want to do anything, and it's like, it sucks. And so I was on a drug called Enbrel for a long time that seemed to help, but it was very, very expensive, and my insurance made it difficult to get. It was a once weekly injection, and that seemed to control it fairly well for a while, but I just wasn't taking it with any regularity because of all of those problems. And so I finally bit the bullet. I've always been afraid to take methotrexate because, it sounds really scary because it's chemotherapy. It's like a low dose chemo drug, but when you take it in a low dose, it isn't chemo. But you hear scary stuff about it, like your hair can fall out. Some people get like nausea and vomiting and don't tolerate it well. But I've come to learn that for a lot of people, it is like a miracle drug. So I've been on it for maybe 2 months now. And I started on a low dose. I don't know what she's barking at. Paloma! I started on the lowest dose and tolerated that fairly well. The only symptom I seemed to have was some, a little bit of nausea, but this is my life. Shh! A little bit of nausea. It'll run its course. Busybody. A little bit of nausea, but just mostly a lack of appetite. So I seem to be tolerating it okay, but I'm still having fevers and pain. And I went back to the rheumatologist and told her that, and she just wanted to rule out lupus and some other things because it's not normal to have a fever every day. So we did all of those tests, and it looks like it isn't lupus, which I'm grateful for, but I'm also still in a lot of fucking pain, and I'm still getting fevers, and it's starting to really impact my quality of life. I haven't really been able to work, and it's been hard for me to even keep up with social events or socializing, being around people. I get very tired very quickly. I've been pretty down because of it, and just it hasn't, yeah, it's been really fucking up my life. So I had my follow-up appointment today, and there's really no improvement. Pain is still bad, if not worse. My hands were swollen to the touch, and so are my feet, and I'm having pain in my muscles and difficulty, like even some difficulty like walking because of pain. I mean, I can walk, but like I used to take my dog on really long walks, and I used to be like really quite active, and I just haven't been in months. So anyway, so she raised the dose again to like, I guess, the full dose. And the only reason I agreed to it was, because like with this increased dose, it's just been an increase in like a sort of lack of appetite and general like malaise and fatigue. And I think I could tolerate that if my pain were getting better. And if like fatigue on like non-methotrexate days was getting better, but it just hasn't been. But I decided to just go with it because apparently this dose might work, and she also prescribed me meloxicam, I believe. It's like an anti-inflammatory that should also help reduce the swelling and the pain. And yeah, so, and then she took more blood tests. It's also possible that I have like some weird infection because methotrexate and like the drugs I was taking before lower your immune system. So I have like, I'm technically immunocompromised. So my GP thought it could be that if the symptoms don't start to get better with the medication and stuff, that's probably the next thing we're going to test for. And yeah, it's just sort of a matter of waiting, which is frustrating because I just feel like I'm in this like weird sort of limbo space where I don't feel very well, and it's hard for me to like. It's not like I haven't really been. I like just stepped down from like some part-time work I was doing, and it's not like I'm like taking time off to like do something cool. Like I really don't feel like I can do much because I don't feel well. Like even like things like reading, my concentration isn't that great. Like sometimes like I can't even like get through a movie or shows because I'm just like, yeah, just I don't even know how to describe it. I guess just in pain, and it's very distracting and all-consuming. So yeah, so sort of in this weird in-between space. I have a lot of support and like a really great community around me. I have great friends. I have a really supportive family who are helping me through this process. But yeah, I'm ready to not feel like death all the fucking time. I mean, it could be worse. It can always be worse. There's all sorts of terrible things. But yeah, I feel like I've been dealing with a lot of grief around it, and a lot of anger, feelings of it not being fair. And it isn't fair, but I mean, you learn pretty young that life isn't fair, and that's, good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Yeah, I've been reading a little bit about the history of the Book of Job, but I'm actually not going to get into that too much, but just this idea that like it can be very hard. I think we have this idea that if you do good, that somehow you're going to be rewarded for it. Like, right? Like that's very, like, it's kind of like what Christianity is based off of, right? Like if you have a good life, you'll have a good afterlife. In Judaism, we don't tend to focus so much on the afterlife, but yeah, and then there's also this idea of karma. But the truth is that sometimes it just doesn't matter, and bad things happen for probably no reason. And it can be very like condescending, I think, when and upsetting when people like kind of hint that you can sort of like will yourself to be better, or like manifest, or the universe supplies. Like, what about like all the people living in poverty? What about children with cancer? That's just not, that's like a very like childish view of the world. Shit just happens, and it sucks. So yeah, that's just like, I'm having to like really sit with that right now, and to try not to get bogged down by this idea that life hasn't been fair to me because I'm sick. You know, there's a lot of things I do have too. Like, I have a pretty sweet life in a lot of ways. And I guess something else, now that I'm like just throwing down wisdom that isn't really all that wise, is that even though there probably is no reason that, I've gotten sick, or that bad things happen to good people. Yeah, that's right. This time, not good things happen. Yeah, bad things happen to good people. Is that, like, even if it is completely senseless, you have to make some meaning out of it. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your fucking mind. Like, I'm having, and I have days where I'm just like done. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm like so sick of being sick, and I just want to give up. But that's not an option, really. I mean, I guess it is, but it isn't really. I've decided that it isn't an option for me. And so I'm having to like make meaning out of it. Like what are the lessons that this is teaching me? And there's been a few. I'm not going to get into all of them right now. One is definitely to enjoyment, which is something I've struggled with in the past. As somebody who's also struggled with anxiety and depression, like, it can be hard for me to stay in the moment and to just enjoy. So that's one thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'll make some more of these. I'm not. Yeah. I also like don't want to like I'm not a fucking inspiration. Not that anybody's saying I am, but I think also there's like this tendency for like people to like want people who are sick to like espouse wisdom, and I don't have that much of that at all. But there's definitely some perspective that comes with it. So now I'm just blathering, and excuse me. We'll see if I decide to share this and to what extent. And anyway, I'm gonna go now. Bye.